Caution, the Mark Gunger Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience. And, besides that, he's really weird. Welcome to the Mark Gunger Show with international marriage speaker and author of Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark Gunger. This is your source for practical, down-to-earth marriage advice without all the over-spiritualization or romantic nonsense. And now the host of the Mark Gunger Show, Mark Gunger.
The crowd goes wild with delirious joy as my marriage button was out of control. Right? They've joined the Mark Gunger Show, the show that deals with all things concerning marriage. There it is. I am your host, the one, the only Mark Gunger. Joining me as always, the ever lovely Lady Diane, and of course the amazing Philip James Gunger, heir to the vast Gunger fortune, up to $27 as of today. It's an amazing thing. Engineering the show, as always, the very talented but eerily creepy Timothy Robert Ray, pushing buttons, twisting knobs, and trying to stay awake during this incomprehensibly, immeasurably boring show. This is the show that handles your marital challenges, relational conundrums, and dating dilemmas that you can email to us at ask@markgungor.com. We have Danielson on camera today. Danielson! Mm-hmm. Danielson! He's working security now, he says. Mm-hmm. Lambeau Field. But they don't give him a gun.
It's not that kind of security.
What's the point of that? No, the security ought to have, fully automatic AR-15 on your shoulder.
Maybe they're a little too afraid that he'll be like Paul Bart Mall Cop. Yes, I couldn't get that out.
If I'm gonna be security, man, I want to be packing.
Well,
hand grenades.
You're packing,
and stuff.
all right.
Hand grenades and just, hey, you can't go in that room. That kind of security, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, we broke away from his security job to join us today, running camera. What do you got there?
Okay, remember we were on the
Sunshine.
8 tips to make
Maybe now's the time to break into Lambo.
If you want to break in.
And get him fired.
He's on security.
Hey, Daniel, look over there. Hey, guys, go back here. Just run, that'd be hilarious. All right.
Okay, remember we're in the middle of this 8 tips to make your relationship feel like it did in the beginning. If you don't talk too long, I'm going to finish it today.
Okay. What number are we on?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on 6, so we have 6, 7, and 8.
All right.
Touch. In the beginning of your relationship, holding hands was the name of the game. You two were the cuddle masters, and no one could dethrone you. How quickly things can change. Pick up those hands and start holding on to each other. Even hugging one another can make you feel more connected than you ever imagined. So in order to not lose touch with each other, start touching more often.
I talk about this in my seminar.
You do.
The people drive us crazy. Before you get married, we can't get you to quit touching each other. Then after you get married, you don't touch each other anymore. What the heck, huh? A little nuts. All right.
Use your words, the next one says. In the first months of dating, you both used your words to express how you feel. After you know you have your relationship on lockdown, those words start to lessen. Those sweet, loving texts aren't being sent as much, and those compliments aren't being told as much. But you can't lie. You miss those, "You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen" texts, or those love notes left on each other's cars. Start speaking up again. Tell your loved one how much you love him or her.
We speak up. We say, "Hey, get your underwear off the table, for heaven's sakes!"
Table.
Well, you never know. Sometimes tables, you just walk around in underwear, they're flying everywhere.
I don't know if there's ever been
Quit wearing underwear
underwear
on your
on
head.
my table
You're going to wear underwear.
or on my head.
You never wore underwear on your head? Every man's wore underwear. on
Oh,
his
sure.
head.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I've worn underwear on my head.
Yeah,
You have.
of course.
I'm sure I have, yeah. I can't
As a
recall
child, I know my children have. I don't know as if I've known a
It's a
grown
man thing.
Oh, all y'all are so weird. Golly.
Danielson, you ever wear underwear on your head?
Not recently, he said.
He's not,
happy
he's
right
not
now
even
for-
answering. That means
Not
he's
since
guilty.
he was 2 or 3. Underwear on your head. We need to do a poll on what is that thing that you run? Underwear on your
How
head.
many men have worn underwear on their head? I bet you it's extremely high percentage.
Oh, that's so weird. Okay, and the last one before this gets weirder. Sleep together. Getting enough sleep in life is important, so is getting enough sleep with your partner. When a relationship starts, you two usually go to sleep together, but as months pass, you might be putting your relationship on snooze. One of you usually ends up on the couch watching TV, while the other decides to hit the hay alone. This creates less intimacy and the opposite of rekindling your relationship. Start making a conscious effort to go to sleep together. A happy bed makes a happy couple. I know you've said things about that in the past.
I guess I'm not against that. I don't know that's not terribly important, you think? Some people may say it's a really big deal.
Well, according to this,
Some people,
makes it like it was in the beginning.
You know, my wife starts going to bed at 9:30, you okay?
Oh, she doesn't.
She does. And then I stay up till almost midnight, and she's still up there reading. I thought, well, why don't you just stay out here? You're not going to sleep anyway. So does that mean go to sleep or to go to bed?
I would say, well, something interesting can happen, at least if you're both in the same bed. If you're in the living room and she's in the bedroom, interesting things aren't going to happen.
Unless you're wearing underwear
on your
head. Then something could happen. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with your emails right after this.
Have a marriage dilemma? Email your questions to ask@markgunger.com, and Mark can answer them during one of our shows.
Hi, Mark Gugnor here, talking to you about our T1 program that we have here at our church at Celebration Church in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is a transition year program for young people before they go off to college. Here's the situation we have today. Young Christian kids, forget about what the secular world does for a minute. I'm talking about the Christian people, devout Christian people. They want the best for their kids. They want to honor God in their lives. The kids go through high school. The second they get out of high school, whoosh, they shove them off into college, and they never slow down. And then they're off to their careers and stuff like that. The statistics for that are very, very bad. They say, I don't know who studies this stupid stuff, but they'll say as high as 80% of the Christian kids in evangelical churches give up on their faith about 2 years into their college experience. It's an unmitigated disaster. We're all trying to figure out programs and stuff like that. How do we fix it? But here's one of the best ways we can fix it. Slow down. Slow down. You don't need to go running off to college as soon as you get out of high school. We encourage these kids to take a 1-year gap program. Now, there's several of them around the country. We have one here in Green Bay. We hope that you'll consider ours. You can go to T1. Is that just the letter
Transition1.org.
Transition1.org. We call it T1R. So it's transition1.org. Look at our 1-year program. What it is instead of running off to college right away, they come and take 1 year, and they come to this program. Now, it's not a Bible school, but we do teach from the scriptures, try to build character, but we show them how to do life, how to make decisions, how to be leaders, how to handle money, something you would think people used to learn. They used to learn this stuff in high school. They don't learn it anymore. They don't learn jack anymore. How to date, how to make decisions about marriage for your life, all these fundamental things, and we breathe life into these young people and teach them how to do life. At the end of the last 3 months of the program, it's a typical school year, the last 3 months, they go on a missions trip. We have various partners around the world where they go and they serve. Now, a lot of people do these mission trips, short-term mission trips. It's like a week here, 7 days here, 10 days there. And it's great that they do that seriously. And even those can be life-changing for kids. But let's be honest. It's more a vacation than a missions trip. 7 days? Are you kidding? They're just having fun flying around and seeing stuff and la, la, la. They come home. It was wonderful. I'm sure it was wonderful. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking 3 months. You're there. You're living with people. You start finding out that the whole world doesn't have Wi-Fi. Anyway, it's a great experience. The Bible says, put first the kingdom of God. Let's teach our kids that. It'll make a huge difference. Transition1.org.
Opportunity to invite you. We're gonna party, you can lose your blue. Your body don't hesitate. It's on Main Street by the pearly gate. There's a party going on. There's a party going on. There's a party going on. You ought to come along. It's up round the throne of God.
We're back on the Mark Gugnor Show talking about love, marriage, and relationships. Mark, Phil, and Diane, what do you got?
Okay, she says in her subject line to acknowledge this is probably stinking thinking. So she's aware, okay? She says, I know I'm supposed to be respectful, but don't always feel that way towards her husband.
Okay.
I'm the one who goes to work daily and my husband doesn't. I pay at least half the bills. It's not always up to the woman to do everything. How do I act respectful when I don't respect my husband?
Why doesn't he go to work?
That's what I asked her. And she said he has a, in quotation marks, disability, but goes and works out daily. And he does do 1 or 2 days of lawn mowing during the summertime only. So I asked her, listen, keep listening with your head down, keep listening.
All right.
So do you give him like expectations? Are there consequences when, he doesn't follow through? She says, well, I'm not his mother. They've been married for 21 years. He's 50, she's 48. He did have some sort of head injury, so he has some trouble with memory and balance and stuff. So apparently that's the disability and why he doesn't work.
All right.
She said it's been 24 years since that happened, so that's probably some of the issues that they're having related to that. But it was all before, because they've been married 21 years, so it was before they were married. So, but apparently after all this time, she's run out of patience with being his mother.
How would you even begin to answer that? Number one, you're not his mother, all right? Oh, you go, I'm not his mother. It's not about being your mother. It's about being the wife, all right? I know what these women want. These men to just, on their own, have all this motivation to help them in every conceivable way. Well, that just doesn't happen in real life. As for his disabilities, I can't speak into that. I don't know anything about him. So...
Can you speak into how are you respectful when you don't think that he is acting worthy of that respect?
Well, let me ask you, ma'am. How do you do when you feel like having sex with another woman and you're not married to her? What should you do? What do you do if you feel like stealing and something's right in front of you? What do you feel like driving 110 miles an hour in a 15-mile-an-hour zone? What if I feel about all that? Well, the answer is very clear. It doesn't matter what you feel. You do the right thing. What if I don't feel like respecting your husband? So what? Show him some respect. That's because the Bible tells us to do it. That's all you got to do.
You can act respectfully without feeling respectful.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you feel. I ever so feel. I don't feel. I'm so sick of these feelings. Seriously. If I wouldn't do anything.
Well, she goes to work. So
I wouldn't do anything. I don't feel like doing anything.
I know you don't.
I'm the laziest man I know. Now, I work really hard. I travel work. I do all that, but I don't feel like doing anything.
Yep.
People say, do you really like
travel?
I don't ask myself that question. I don't think about it.
No.
You know what I do? I want to sit on my boat all the time and do nothing. But I want to move that boat to Florida.
Yeah, and then sit on it all the time.
Because Wisconsin weather's horrible.
What I was going to say is that she clearly has a job. She says that she goes out and does all of this, and he does nothing.
He gets
she
disability.
Must treat her. Well, that's what he's paying part of the. No, but I was going to say.
But wait a minute. Why don't I have to pay for everything? Half of everything.
She's paying half of it.
What do you think she's going to do? You got a husband and you go, I pay for half of everything. Oh, how horrible is that?
No,
what did you think?
Yeah, I get it.
She doesn't get it.
Okay, so she has a
talks
job.
About him more like he's a roommate.
Yeah, she has a job, and I wonder if she always feels respectful towards her boss, because I don't know, there's some days that I don't necessarily feel like being
Shut
respectful.
Up over there.
No, I'm serious. I don't feel like being respectful at times, but I always act respectfully. Do I not?
You always feel respectful because I walk in the room and what do?
I go, wow. That wasn't directed towards you today, by the way. But you're interrupting my point.
She's talking to Phil earlier, and Phil must have said something. And she goes, wow. All I know is I walk in the door. She goes, wow. I said, now that's what I'm talking about.
There's more
that's
to
a greeting. That's the way you welcome a man when he walks in the room. Wow.
Okay.
No, I know she knows
she can treat her boss respectfully.
Do you take care of your children when you don't feel like taking care of your children? Do you know, I mean, here's the thing. These women, they get that. They treat their boss with respect whether or not they feel like it. They help their children whether or not they feel like it. They clean the toilet. Who thinks, oh, man, I can't wait to clean the toilet. Oh, it really moves my soul. I just love to. They do all kinds of things whether they feel like it. But when it comes to respecting their husband, what is it? I don't feel like it. There, that's my answer to you.
Okay.
Give me a new email. I don't
No. Can I say one more thing? Because actually my brain came to life now. we hit record. I was half asleep before that.
All right.
Okay, so when these women say, but I'm not his mother kind of thing, and they don't like that.
Let me tell you what that is. They are being, in essence, the most disrespectful they can be.
Yes.
The Bible says, be respectful. She knows that. I don't want to be, so I'm not his mother. All you're doing is showing me how disrespectful of a woman you are. When you're saying I don't have to be your mother, what you're doing, ladies, you're being as disrespectful as you can be to the man. It's only a sign. It's like these women who argue about, my husband must be more spiritual than me. The minute anyone argues about who's more spiritual proves they are the most unspiritual people on the earth. Yeah. You know what a spiritual person does? They never point out how spiritual they are. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Who thinks? It's like, I'm the most humble person I know, and you should be more humble than me. How come you're not as humble as I? Because I'm really incredibly humble.
Have you ever had people say that? I've actually had people say that.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I do that as a joke.
To goodness, I have had people in all sincerity tell me about how humble and how much humility they have.
Oh, man, I would fall on the floor laughing.
Yeah, honestly.
That people are crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you say, I'm not his mother, you are, in fact, being exactly what the Bible says you should not be. Well, now, you don't have. If you don't want to do anything about it, that's between you and God. But don't give me all your blah, 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 and I don't feel like, and he's a this, and he's a big poopy head. The bottom line is you are disrespectful. You are disrespectful. It's like switch it to a guy who wants to cheat on his wife. These other women are nicer to me, and, my wife dresses like, she belongs to the Taliban at night, I want to go out and, do the wild thing with other women, and I can't help it. Well, every woman in the world says, that's crazy. But as soon as you put it on the woman's side, well, I shouldn't have to respect him. He should. No, it goes both ways.
I shouldn't have to remind him. I shouldn't have to babysit him. I shouldn't have to. But this is the point I wanted to make.
Okay.
Speaking of what the Bible says, doesn't it say that God said it wasn't good for man to be alone? Uh-huh. Therefore, he needed somebody to help him and remind him and to do all those things. So they get so mad they have to do the very things that apparently God thought he needed to have. And they're mad about it.
Okay. But again, you use the analogy of the workplace, okay? Mm-hmm. You are one of the people who reminds me of everything.
Oh, yes, I do.
Follows me around.
Oh, yes, I do.
Don't do this.
Oh, yes.
Quit saying that. Blah, 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 blah. You're not my mother?
No.
I don't even think in terms of my, And
I never think that.
Oh, I'm not his mother. You're the helper. That's what I pay you to do.
Isn't that what the woman was created for?
Millions of dollars I pay her.
Yeah. Was it a woman created to be the
very, very long
period of time?
If I live to be 507, I will
millions
amass millions
in Zimbabwe dollars.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah.
I mean, if this lady was working for a guy and he was a personal assistant to a man, she would remind him. She would follow. That's what they do. Yeah. But they never think, I'm being disrespectful. I'm not his mother. That's what you're paid to do. Why is it when you come to your husband, suddenly what you can do for everybody else you can't do anymore? What you do is you fall right back into disrespect, just like some guy falls right back into lusting after other women. It goes both sides. So it doesn't matter what you feel. Just do the right thing. All right. Give me a headache. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more emails right after this.
Mark Gungor. Yeah, we've got an app for that. Download your free Mark Gungor app today.
Sounds so simple, and it's just a game.
We're back on the Mark Gungor Show. Mark Gungor along with Phil and my mother, Diane.
That was a cackle.
What you got, Mom?
Subject says, help, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law are psychotic.
What?
My mother-in-law and sister-in-law are psychotic. She says. Okay, ready?
All right.
My husband and I are about to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, and I feel like we are just barely hanging on some days at 1 year. We love each other, but we seem to fight a lot about his family. His mother is the main issue. She doesn't like me at all and has tried many times to break us up even before we got married. She even blackmailed her.
And I'll tell you what, she's still hanging on to that.
Yeah.
That's why everything her mom does, she still sees it in that light.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, you need to let that go. I don't care what she was doing before. She was putting you through the test. Who cares? Who cares what she was doing? It's irrelevant.
Can I confess like a sin right here, right now?
Yeah, sure.
I was pretty...
That's why people listen to the show. To listen for your sins.
I was pretty, hard with my daughter-in-law, shall we say, before they got married. I really was. But once she was in, it's like, I adore her. But there was like some fences to climb. I gotta say.
Well, at some point, they're replacing a part of you. It's really true.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure she's going to do my boy right.
Yeah. So this, you need to get over Mom trying to break us up before we have it. Forget that. Like it never happened. All right.
Okay.
Sponge that from your brain. Expunge. Or sponge it.
Sponge.
Put a sponge in your head.
Okay.
SpongeBob. All right.
And my sorry.
Come on,
She
Mom.
says,
Pull it together.
my solution is to avoid and ignore because I've tried being nice and that's gotten me nowhere except more insults and criticism.
Mm-hmm.
My husband has tried to tell her that she has to be nice, but she just gets angry and yells and makes it worse. The problem is now that his grandfather that he's really close with is very sick and is staying in the household, so we have to go visit usually once a week. She goes with him and then he goes by himself the second time. She said, I don't feel welcome in their home, and when his mother and sister are around, they make me feel very uncomfortable and on the edge to the point of almost having panic attacks. His mother is very passive aggressive towards me and says a lot of stuff when I'm not there to my husband, and he doesn't see it as hurtful or wrong till he tells me about it and then doesn't understand why I'm upset and crying. But all this stuff has been the cause of a lot of turmoil and stress in our relationship. I'm not sure what else I can do now because avoiding the situation is something I can't do anymore because of the grandfather. I would greatly appreciate your advice.
My advice is lighten up. So what? You're going to go over there, she's going to criticize you. So what? You have to live over there 24/7. They go once a week. Got to go over. As soon as you go, say, okay, let's go into criticism alley and let it be passive. Who cares? Why do this to stress you out?
We had this discussion yesterday about somebody we know that had to deal with family, and you just deal with it.
just
It's
deal
3
with
or 4
it,
days,
you
once
know?
a year, and you deal with it.
You just deal with it. So, I don't know. You're a year into this and already you're stressed to the point of panic attacks. Women generally have way more health issues than men. Mm-hmm. Way more. The main cause of it, stress. Mm-hmm. You allow yourself... Now, it doesn't kill you. I don't understand it because men die sooner than women. And it's probably because we want to.
That's so mean.
Take me now, oh Lord. I can bear it no longer. But we don't have near the health problems women do. But is that, and almost all of it comes from stress. Stop. Good grief. What do I put a thing on my Facebook the other day. It says, what was it? Expectation is the author of dissatisfaction. In this case, you can put the word mother. Expectation is the mother of dissatisfaction. Whatever your father's, anyone you want to use. Is the higher your expectations are, the more miserable you will be. You want to be happier in life? Just lower your expectations. The reason she's upset is because she totally expects this should not happen. Mm-hmm. This should not happen.
She said it was all before they got married. So what did she think was going to happen when they got married? Nothing magic was going to happen. This is what you signed up for.
But it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be this way.
It shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way. That's just,
well,
you know what?
Have married into it then.
Honestly, I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to be mean, although I have a gift for that. Just go over there with the full expectation. I will be ravaged. I will be criticized. Let's find out what version of criticism we can find today. What do you want? Go with a smile. Look at your husband and say, all right, I wonder what criticisms we'll hear today. And go in there and count. You should have a bet. You and your husband should make a bet. I bet I'll get 10 criticisms today. And he says, no, I think you only get 8. All right, but if I win, and then you get a bet going.
Yeah.
Not that we're trying to turn you into gamblers here, but a little friendly bet, okay? Go in and make a game out of it. Come on.
Make it amusing.
Ah, man, you won the bet. So he wins. Boom, I won the bet. That's $100, all right? Just relax. Lighten up. It's your mother-in-law. You're in this for a year, and you're already stressed out like this. Seriously, and I'm being very serious. If you don't get a control of it, she's obviously a young girl.
Yeah.
You're going to be one of these women in their 50s. You're going to have 1,000,001 health issues in your life. And you're going to be going to doctors and chiropractors and naturalists and drugs and all this other kind of stuff, trying to serve. And you're just going to be all this pain and misery in your body until you outlive your husband. And it's not worth it. Stop.
And her goofy husband needs to stop telling her the things that the mother says. Don't go home and tell her the stuff that's going to make her cry and upset and make her more mad. You just keep that between you and Mama.
My guess is she drives it. I bet you she drives it because she's obsessed by this.
That could be.
She has these huge expectations. It shouldn't be this way. And she tried to break us up before we got married. I said, stop. Here's your expectation. Your mother-in-law doesn't like you. Your sister-in-law doesn't like you. That's your expectation. Mm-hmm. Embrace it.
Expect them not to.
Love it. Kiss it. Hug it. That's your expectation. And then when they don't do that, then you'll be shocked. Wow, they're kind of nice to me today. Just relax. The good news is you don't have, to her, it's the end of the world because she has to go over there once a week. Wow. Wow.
I gotta come over here once a week.
All right, just relax. They got medication for this. But try to just relax naturally. We'll be back with more after this.
Caution, the Mark Gunger Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience.
The Son of God came walking one night out on the water. What a frightening sight. Folks in the boat thought he was a ghost when Peter said to Jesus, "Can I get out the boat?"
Sometimes you want to walk on the water, you got to get out of the boat, or you will never experience it. All right, we're back on the Mark Gunger Show talking about love, marriage, and relationships. We have a flag page question. The flag page is an online assessment you can go to at flagpage.com and take a very simple little test that helps people to understand each other in a much better and clearer way. If you are listening to this wonderful voice at this moment and have not ever done your flag page, shame on you! Go do it. Do it today, as soon as the show's over. Flagpage.com. All right, so what's the question?
She wants to know, we've been married for about a year and a half, known each other for 6 years.
Okay.
She said, we wanted to ask about advice for how to improve our communication during conflict and your tips on conflict resolution based on our flag pages.
All right. All right, so let's take a look at the flag page. What do we got here? This is the man. The man. There we go. Okay, so he is 144. Anything over 100 is a pretty strong statement. He's 144 from the world of control. He likes to have control. I'm sure when you start arguing, it's because he wants to maintain control. His secondary country, we use the analogy of countries, is perfect country. He likes to have things right. Get it done, get it right. We call these people the world's strongest-willed people. All right? They're very intense people. They like to have things done their way. They're very intense.
Holy moly, look at that flag. I just now looked at it seriously.
Yeah, he's a little strong. Now look at his lovely wife. She's from peace country, just wants to get along. But she also has perfect. My guess is you both have a very strong sense of perfection, the way things should be right. My guess is when you're arguing over what is or is not, in fact, right. So you'll get into that debate. He'll be more pushy than you will. It will make you upset because you've got this peace thing. You just want to get along. This is why you're emailing me and not him. Because these things don't generally bother. Put the camera back on me because I'm much prettier than all that. Hey, there we go. All right. So, so here's the situation. Oh, I'm sorry. Tim, put it back up there. Do something else. Now look at this hard and soft score on either one of them. The blue is the warm and fuzzy part. The brick wall is the brick wall, okay? They both have more brick wall than soft. Here's what's really funny about it. You can put me back on there now. Soft people tend to marry hard-natured people. Soft people tend to marry other soft people. What's very rare is what you guys have is two hard-natured people marrying each other because they usually kill each other during the dating process. Mm-hmm. The good news for you is these people almost never get a divorce because neither one of them wants to lose. Is the main reason. These are couples in their 90s still yelling at each other. Mm-hmm. When you fight, it tends to be much more explosive, you know. You're not going to have the same kind of arguments that maybe your girlfriends in your Bible study have, you know, especially if they're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls from Scandinavia, you know. They tend to be very quiet and peaceful and their version of an argument is, you know, you really shouldn't say that to me. I mean, that's it, okay? Your version of fighting is going to be much more intense because you both have this brick wall that run into each other, which is fine. You can have explosive arguments. It's fine. The good news in the way you two are, nobody's going anywhere. It's just arguing about the argument. It doesn't mean I don't love you, and it doesn't mean he doesn't love you, you know, whatever. So I think what you're describing is pretty normal for you two, all right? Two really soft-natured people who are both big from peace country would never have the kind of arguments you guys have. But that's different. That's different for them, okay? For them to really get probably as intense as you two would be the end of the world for them. But that's okay. Everybody's different. And the reality is you're both fairly strong-willed people, and you have strong opinions, and you voice them in a fairly strong way, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. The biggest challenge you'll have is at the end of the day, you will put her up there once. Look at her flag. That's his flag. Well, yeah. See the blue? She's got that warm and fuzzy. Thrives on encouragement. She wants to hear good things from her husband. Now let's look at him. He's got nothing but green, yellow, and orange. He doesn't have any blue. In fact, in the full flag, usually you see other shades of blue. He's one of the few people I've ever seen that
There's
doesn't
not
have a one
stitch of blue, not a blue, nothing.
You married a guy.
Well, an
who's about as
idealistic,
warm and
bold, strong-willed, self-sufficient, high control. Oh my goodness.
You married a man who's about as warm as a rock.
Yeah, and
But you
she
love the
has
guy.
tell me that I'm wonderful.
Yeah. She says, and the reason he doesn't tell you he's wonderful because he doesn't think he has to say it because he never thinks in those terms. What you need to let him know is, hey, hopefully you play this for him. Hey, Fred, whatever your name is, you need to be nice to her. You need to say things to her because she thrives on encouragement. He doesn't think that way because he encourages himself. He doesn't need anybody to encourage him. He takes the world by the tail and he makes everything happen the way he wants to make it happen. That's the way he's wired. But if you think your wife is going to think like you're going to have problems with her. You want to get along with a girl. You want to have more peace in your life, even though you're a control freak, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. You need to be nicer. You need to say nice things to her because that's like the number one thing in her flag. Thrives on encouragement. She needs to hear words from you. All right? And things will be much better for the two of you. Having said that, when you two argue, it will be rather entertaining. Because that's the way that you guys, well, you butt heads. The two brick
Especially
walls
if
will
she's
smack.
trying to convince him. Sorry, I'm staring at the flag pages.
That's all
If she's ever trying to convince him of a way that she thinks, or a new idea, or hey, you should try this, or what about this? His entire flag says, I don't care what you have to say.
No.
I don't need to hear what you have to say.
I know the right thing.
I know how to
You
do
don't
it, and I
need
know
to-
that I can do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what his flag says.
So you can't
That's-
improve him at all.
Yeah, that's who you married, you know. The good thing is people like this can be really rather fabulous. They can be very successful men and bring a lot of security. And when he
It's
starts,
probably what she found attractive.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it is.
It's just he's not warm and
Look at this
fuzzy.
guy, so sure of himself. He knows what he's
Yeah.
doing. He's great at doing it.
I used to have a pet rock that was warmer than this guy. All right, you remember the pet rock craze?
Yeah, I do.
Back in what was it, the
I
70s?
do. Yeah, it was.
People actually would go to stores and buy rocks.
A rock in a box.
That's how dumb Americans are, and how brilliant marketers are. They would just take a rock, they would package it in a box, and they call it the pet rock. People would go, I want one of those. So they spend money. And they could go next door and get a rock.
Yeah.
But no, they wanted the pet rock.
Yeah.
So they got pet. I met pet rocks that are warmer than this guy. I don't know. At least on his flag page. I don't know if he's really warmer in real life. He can't be that awful. But the reality is, yeah, he's always going to think the way he thinks. And he has no idea why you wouldn't possibly consider it. But there's no problem with you getting in his face. In fact, guys are like this. That's the only thing they really respect. That's why it's normal for you guys to have intense arguments. If you try to have a real quiet, reasonable argument with a guy like this, oftentimes people, and this can be man or female, if you try to be super nice in an argument like, you know, real peace people are and some of your pastors, you should never raise your, all this other kind of nonsense, okay, because they're all on morphine, these people, very peaceful people. You try to have that kind of discussion with a very strong-natured person like this, they view it in terms of weakness. And they actually will disrespect you more. So for you to get in his face and see the sparks fly is normal. And he needs to hear it that way. And that's fine. You guys will be fine. Nobody's going anywhere. It'll mess more with you because at the end of the day, you want, you know, to get along with him. But this is how you get along with him. I know it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. A peace person will think, we should never argue. But the way for you to get along, which is what a peace person ultimately wants, is you need to be able to get in his face and debate things out. He's a
And he
big
might
boy.
not listen to a word you say.
Here's the good thing. Now, she's just slightly more hard-natured than he is. He's a lot more. Here's the good thing about hard-natured people. They don't take things personally. They don't.
No.
You could get in your husband's face and yell, hey, you, and he'll go, and then he's fine. He's fine. When he's done, he can give you a hug afterwards. I mean, it's just, you know, it'll mess more with her, but it's fine. It's the way it is. It really helps people to understand who you are and who the person you are married to, shows you how to get along better with them. And just remember, this is you. You're not like everybody else. If I would travel around the country and the world doing these seminars, and I try to bring one of the most opposite couples on stage. You're the kind of couple I bring on stage because they'd have everybody in tears laughing because because of the way you two are wired. But it's fine. You're fine. You'll be all right. So anyway, okay, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more questions right after this.
Want more of Mark? Visit markgunger.com. There you will find everything that Mark has to offer.
Shake it up. We're back on the Mark Gugnor Show. Talking about love, marriage, and relationship. Jimmy Bratcher there. So I'm doing a gig with Jimmy in Sturgis. He goes to these big motorcycle places. All kinds of debauchery going on, and plays and just ministers to these people. But he's a great musician. The guys, they like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, when the first time he started going to Sturgis, he was down on this little outreach thing somewhere in the middle of downtown, and but he kept asking to get on one of these bigger stages, where the pros go and stuff. So they let him finally on the Jägermeister stage, which is a really cool stage, but it's still outside the main stage where the thousands of people at. We got more like hundreds of people. So he's been and for years he's been asking them. They love him, and all the response they get from the people who listen to him tell the owners, who are also the same owners for the big stage, man, we really like this guy and stuff like that. So the guy's been promising for years to let him on the main stage. So finally this year, they said, we booked you for the main stage. So I'm going to go with him, and we're going to do the main stage. We're supposed to open for Willie Nelson. We'll see exactly how it turns out. But that's going to be wild to be able to jam in front of all the big main stage at Sturgis, all these bikers.
That would be very exciting.
Anyway, Jimmy Bratcher. Check out his music, jimmybratcher.com.
Okay, dating question for you.
Yeah.
She says, "Hi, Mark. I've watched all of your teachings on YouTube. I love your straight-up answers.
There's
We'll
a few
always
people.
see if they still like those straight-up answers when they're directed.
By the
them."
way, so I'm talking to my sister,
Yeah.
She says, I don't like listening to your show. You're too mean. I know. These people they're just drive me crazy. I know, but you can't be so mean. I said, I don't know. So anyway, she starts talking about this couple in their church. They have this problem. You should just hear her going off.
Because she's mean.
And she says, I said, wait a minute.
There you go.
You're meaner than me. She says, oh, I know. I just don't do it on the radio. So she still got the Gugnor gene in her. There's no question about it. Man, you should have heard her going off. I said, I should put you on my show. You'd fit right in.
Funny enough, you got really mean in an email a little bit ago that you sent to somebody, and then you're like, oh, I could be so mean, I shouldn't be so mean. And then you heard back from the guy, and he was very appreciative of your response and did not think that it was mean and that it helped him very much.
It really helped his life, and I just shake my head and go, really? Wow.
Yes.
So anyway, all right.
Okay, so anyhow, she says, I have been working on renewing my mind after repenting and making God Lord of my life this past 2 years.
Okay.
I love God, love to study the Word and pray. My problem is that I don't get much interest to date me because of my past. I cannot lie and tell them that I've been married less than 5 times. She says, I've been single again for the past 8 years.
She's been married 5 times?
Yeah, and she's 62. She has been single for the past 8 years. She's only been a Christian for the last 2. So all of her stuff happened BC.
Okay, I get it.
She says, I'm a good catch, attractive, smart. I work hard, will not have sex before my commitment. My children are grown and out of the house. I'm really working on myself to be a godly woman. I pray and cry and ask God for a husband to be equally yoked with and to be a pleasure to God. But I have a huge hurdle. How can I find a husband? By the way, dating sites have not worked for me.
Well, you and 18 million other single women want to answer to that question. I think in your case, being in the Christian community, everybody gets that when you're in Christ, you're a new creature. Old things have passed away, all things become new. So you might have a hard problem with someone who's not a Christian, given your past history, but you don't want a guy like that anyway. More than likely, you're going to find a person who's a devout Christian, and they're going to be much more forgiving of your past, I would think. Having said that, there's still, there's baggage. I don't know why you want to do this again.
Well, if she's been on her own for 8 years, you think she's kind of gotten the groove of that and can be okay with it. That would be
5 times. I mean,
my
wow.
recommendation.
At some point. But, people don't want to be alone. So, I don't know. All you girls, you want to find somebody, you got to go find them. That's all I can tell you. God's not going to bring you somebody. That I will speak against intensely. I think it is bogus. It is unbiblical. It is just pure, unadulterated nonsense. And that's why so many of you are single, because you're waiting for God to bring somebody. You need to go find. The Bible says he who finds a wife, a woman of noble character who can find. It's always in the context of find, takes of. You don't see, there's one place that kind of hints at, finding the one kind of stuff, but you can't build a doctrine off of one verse. The Bible overwhelmingly puts it in the context of looking and finding. That's what you got to do. And I think God can help you find. I'm not against that. It's like if I lose my glasses, I can say, Lord, help me find my glasses. I mean, have you ever done that? I prayed, man. I
do all the time.
And I believe God will help you find something. But if you're sitting around saying, I can't find my glasses, what are you doing? You're looking, no, I'm waiting for the Lord to bring me my glasses. You think they were an idiot. All right? Mm-hmm. So in that context, you just got to change. You need to go find. You got to find a situation. So the what do you call it? The
online
dating isn't working. Well, it hasn't worked yet. You can keep doing it. Go to church and try and find somebody. And I know there's a lot of pastors who won't like this advice, but the reality is, I'd hate to see it even for some of our single girls. But the reality, you're going to a church where there's just no men available. You need to go to another church. The good thing about showing up at another church is you're the new one, and everybody you get the attention. I mean, exactly what happens. Mm-hmm. Every time a new girl or a new guy walks into a church, everybody turns, who is that? Yep. And now, so I want to stay in the church I have. Well, then that's the decision you make. Everybody wants everything. They want to have their cake and eat it too.
I know.
I don't want to look. I don't want to leave my church. I don't want to move anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I want to keep my exact life the way it is, and I just want a husband. Well, lots of luck with that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but, at some point you need to go make things happen. So that's my advice. Go make something happen. All right. Got another dating question after this one?
Yes, we do.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll do one more dating question right after this.
Attend Mark's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage event. Visit laughyourway.com for upcoming dates and locations.
I require no invitation for quiet walks and rendezvous. My only expectation, please forgive me, is that you're with me.
Music of Michael O'Brien. Check out his music, michaelo.org. Okay, what do you got?
He says, I'm 24 years old and from Poland. I've started looking for a girlfriend and was dating one girl for a couple of months. Unfortunately, result was she put me in her friend zone. She said, I'm not feeling it.
No man wants to be in the friend zone.
She said, I'm not feeling it, which means she's not interested in me as a boyfriend because of her feelings. I've already known, thanks to you, that feelings are not a good factor to pick the right partner. Anyway, I like her. She comes from a good Christian family, believes in God, is smart and nice. Should I still keep chasing her, or is it a waste of time? Is it better for me to look for another girl? If you've been friend zoned.
I think you live by your feelings for how you live your life. Your feelings don't dictate your life. Not about, if you have a girl who says, I don't like you, I would move on.
It's a pretty bold move, though. I know you feel that way.
I know you don't want anything to do with me.
But those are just your feelings.
Mark Gugnor says don't live by your feelings. I think it's pretty funny. No, when I'm saying look by your feelings, that's your feelings. You do the right thing whether you feel like it or not. That's what I'm talking about. You're dating someone who, you make them want to, vomit. You might want to move on. I generally encourage guys to not date girls that don't like them. Although I'm all up for trying to push through and see if you can break it.
Well, that's what your son-in-law did.
I know, but a lot of guys have done that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Take it a bit of as a challenge.
Yeah.
But but it sounds like he's already been at it for a while, so I don't know. I have no problem going after a girl who says she doesn't like you and try and get her attention, but don't stay there forever. At some point, get a clue and move on. But you want to try and break it down? Go for it. I'll be cheering for you. But don't be one of these guys that just keeps hanging on. Maybe she'll eventually come around. No.
When she takes out the restraining order on you, it's time to move on. He has a second question for you, too.
Okay.
He wants to know, could you describe an ideal partner? How would you characterize the perfect candidate for marriage?
Someone who's very much like me. I am a perfect man. I don't know. What does that even mean?
Don't think he's looking for a man.
He's looking for
The
a
perfect
girl.
partner, is he a Christian? I don't know if he's a devout. I'm a devout Christian. I look for someone who
think
takes
so.
their faith seriously. Virtually any two devout Christians can get married and be happy with each other. I think people just think too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could take devout Christian A and devout Christian B and have a successful life. And almost randomly,
Well, if they were living as devout Christians, yeah.
That's the thing. That's exactly because you live out your faith. That's anybody who truly lives out the Christian experience can have a great life and can be a great lover and be a great friend and all this stuff. So that's my advice. So anyway, having said that, it helps if you like them up front. But listen, I know it sounds absurd, but for thousands of years, men and women were introduced to each other on their wedding day. Mm-hmm. They didn't know each other. There was no dating. Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing
What do
I
you
love.
think of that, Danielson? Put it, Danielson. I keep trying to hook him up.
I love
And he hates it, and I
about
torture
Fiddler
him.
on the Roof, that
But
movie.
I know, but in the
love
old
that
day,
part of
I would have gotten
it.
together with his father and mother. We'd find some
Yeah.
other. We'd have set it up and said, "Hey, come to your wedding. It's this Saturday. I hope you like the girl." That's the way they did life. And
Then
divorce
they dance around as they sang "To Life."
to life, l'chaim. Yeah, it's great. That's what they would do.
Yeah.
And then people got married, and their divorces were extraordinarily rare because they learned to love each other. You didn't fall in love first and then got married. You got married and then fell in love, which, if you stop and think about it, is really a better deal.
Yeah, it's a much more lasting kind of a thing.
Exactly. So, anyway. So, does I have a point there? Am I done? What else you got? That's it?
No, we don't have time for anything else. You need to fill now.
We should sing Fiddler on the Roof
I thought
song.
for sure you were going to launch into some Fiddler tunes there.
Wait, then we have to pay those people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I was going to play some of the tracks,
And
actually.
it's like, whoops, can't do
Look
that.
like I'm chasing us after money.
We want our money.
That's too bad because I find that highly entertaining. I don't know. Maybe we should start paying it again.
So you
How
can
much was it? It wasn't that much.
play your
We
songs.
can play our clips again. These people want to get paid for their work, which is outrageous.
Imagine that, wanting to get paid for work.
Why would you pay someone for what they do?
Why?
Because the people say, "Oh, how come there's copyright laws?" Because these people work. That's how they get paid. Anyway. All right, that's all we got for today. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.